Welcome to the CHOW Podcast, hosted by Animal Friends of Wyoming County, where our mission is to help care for animals held by the Wyoming County Animal Shelter and promote responsible pet care in Wyoming County.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Animal Friends of Wyoming County CHOW Podcast. I am your host, Sam, the president of Animal Friends, and joining me is my co-host, Ms. Kelly. How are you doing today, Kelly?
I'm good, Sam.
Good.
I'm Kelly Shearing. I'm the media director for Animal Friends of Wyoming County.
All right, this is an exciting episode today. This is our second episode we've done. Hopefully, you're staying with us. Today we are talking about pet photography, and I know I have, how many dogs do I have now? I have three dogs. I have 3 dogs at home. I had to think for a moment. English Springer Spaniels.
How can you forget one?
I know, I'm sorry.
All you animal lovers out there, I apologize for Sam right now.
I have 3 beautiful English Springer Spaniels, and I feel like I take pictures of them every other day, just every they nonchalant things that they do, just laying on the couch or whatever. They always look so cute. But every once in a while, we want to get our dogs a little professional photo shoot. Who doesn't like a good photo shoot, right? And especially for our furry family members. And I am very excited because all the tips I've gotten from pet photography have been from this amazing guest we have today. So without further ado, I would like to, before we continue, I wanted to mention this in the beginning so it doesn't go too long without it. Just to put a timestamp on this, we were recording this in December 2022, and just a couple days ago, New York State had some exciting news by our governor, Kathy Hochul, signed into law the, I believe it's called the Puppy Mill Pipeline Bill. And we're still learning all the details as it's unfolding, and I'm sure as it gets implemented in the next year or so, we're going to learn about how that's going to be done and different things like that, how it affects you as a pet owner, how it affects pet stores and animal control officers and the animal world in general in New York State. So it's just interesting to touch upon it real quick. It looks like this is targeting puppy mills, so breeders can't take their dogs to pet stores and sell them, and it's supposed to cut that pipeline, that chain there, which
is exciting.
It is very exciting. It's very exciting. It helps stop it.
We'll clear up. We don't mean by all dog breeders are puppy mill, because they're not. They have some very reputable and great dog breeders out there, but the ones that are puppy mills that are cranking out puppies all the time for huge profits. That's kind of where it's nailing down. So that's what's perfect.
Exactly, Phil. You're exactly right. I mean, there are some good, reputable dog breeders out there, but then there are some that are sketchy backyard breeders, and this bill is supposed to stop a lot of that puppy trafficking there. And so hopefully it's successful. I know California is the only other state in the United States that's passed it. I don't know the status of how that's been, but it must be working well, because New York State has followed suit, as New York State does with California. So we'll see the effects. I think it's finally implemented in late 2023, early 2024. So there you go. So that'll be interesting, and we will definitely talk about this bill more so in future podcasts. One of the things I personally am excited about is anything that has to do with the law and animals. I like to call it the law and the paw. Yeah. So this is definitely something we're gonna touch upon as things progress. But yeah, that's some exciting news in New York State for right now. So to move forward, we have, like I said before, an amazing guest to the pod today. Her name is Jamie Pankow, and I'm going to allow her to give her own introduction.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Welcome, Jamie.
Welcome, Jamie.
Shoes on. All right. So my name is Jamie Pankow. I am a photographer specializing in equine and pet portraits in Western New York. I have been in this industry, technically 10 years, but this is what I do full time, and I absolutely adore creating artwork out of our pets, specifically horses and dogs. I've worked a lot with the shelter these past few years, and I'm just happy to be here.
Well, welcome.
We are happy to have you. I've known you for a long time now. Long time. We are actually neighbors, so which is really, really cool. She's literally up the road from me. So, Pankows are famous for their farm, their dairy farm around the area, and this is pretty exciting. I think, when did you start with Animal Friends? Because Jamie Pankow, for those who don't know, has been our in-house photographer for all the dogs that come into the shelter. She'd come in, donate her time and her resources to take professional photos. She helps us out with a calendar cover contest, which is amazing and fun to do. And the pictures, every one of them always turn out beautiful. And so it's been a big blessing. And you've been with us.
Let's see.
Gosh, was it 2017?
That's what I was leaning towards. I think it was maybe 2017 going into 2018 because I believe we started like this time of year. I know it was snowy. I remember that much because it was cold. But yeah, wow, time flies, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, she'd take at least one day a month, or sometimes 2 days a month, depending on how many dogs have come to the shelter, and come on down here with myself and other board members and animal control officers and take pictures of the dogs here. And
that was back when we did like Santa Paws.
Oh, that's right. Yes, the Tractor Supply, Santa Paws
stuff. That was cool. That was fun.
That was. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
I'll never forget. Do you remember that Russian breed dog that came? I think it was the Arcade Tractor Supply.
Okay.
The huge dog. It was like the bear fighting dog, and they put the little Santa hat on him, and he was just like chilling with a hat on.
Yeah.
I was terrified of that dog, but he was very well behaved.
Yes,
That was a cool dog.
I remember that Tractor Supply one a lot. We had a lot of good pictures that day.
We did.
A lot of
That was a
people
busy day.
matched their pets, which was pretty awesome.
They really did. They committed.
That was really cool. I think we even had 2 cats. Someone brought
We did.
home cats.
We had cats.
That-
And lots of puppies. A lot of puppies.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, my.
Sounds like that we got to bring that back then.
I know.
Yes.
That
Oh,
was
that was
before
so
my
fun.
time.
That was.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was good.
We did it a little bit at the event in Warsaw this year, but we had quite a few. But yeah,
The Tractor Supply ones, they're just fun.
rethink our event on the Santa Paws. Coming back hopefully next year.
Yes, I'd love to do them again at Tractor Supply. They've been very accommodating, both Warsaw and arcade locations. And it's nice to get out there into the community a little bit more. And it's not like it costs them an arm and a leg too. I believe we just did it for a donation of any size. Yeah. And it raked in a lot of donations for dogs here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It was fun.
it was very fun. So I'm excited. I hope we could do that again. Let's see.
So
yes.
Jamie, you want to talk about how you prep your dogs in your photography and how you do all that?
Prepping dogs. Oh boy. Well, I guess I kind of got to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, how'd you get into pet photography? Let's start at the very beginning. She was born,
Let's unfold everything. There we go.
saw a camera and thought, this is go time.
9 months before August 29th. So I've always been an animal lover. I think that has never been a secret. It's kind of the running joke in my family because as, farmers and whatnot, you kind of have to be a little bit tough when it comes to animals.
Absolutely.
And I was never like that. I was always the person who saved the baby bird that fell out of the nest, and I made my own little nest, and, the barn cats, catching them. I grew up, my aunt always had horses down the road, and I fell in love with horses. We always had a dog of some sort. So that part was always there for me. I am the type of person where I feel probably at my most authentic and comfortable self when I am in the horse barn. And normally my dogs are with me in there, and, my horse is in there with me. So that kind of started it. And then I just picked up a camera one day and I went for a walk. What was it? Around the farm. And I took a photo of our apple orchard. That's what it was. It was our apple orchard. And my mom made just this huge, crazy deal about it. She was like, this is the most beautiful photograph ever. You need to keep doing this. And obviously the barn cats fell victim, and the dogs. And, over time, it kind of just snowballed. And I went with it, I guess. I don't know. I'm very, very, very lucky. My family always supported what I did. they pushed me in that direction. Fun random fact. My original plan was I wanted to go to school at the Art Institute in Pittsburgh, and I wanted to work for Rolling Stone magazine. That was my like big crazy dream. I thought that was my best bet to meet Orlando Bloom, so that he'd realize that like, you know, we were like soulmates, and you know. It's Katy Perry.
And if you're listening,
yeah, right. Or Tom Hiddleston, okay. But you know, I very quickly realized that the city life wasn't for me. It was really scary. I needed to be able to see the stars. I needed to be around animals, and so I shifted and just started taking photos of my dogs and friends' dogs and horses, and it really just snowballed into what the Jamie Pankow photography experience is now. There's a lot of times where I feel like I have whiplash almost. I'm like, whoa, how did we get here? It's been such a crazy, terrifying, exciting journey. And I'm very proud of what it's become, I guess. It gives me purpose.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. I just hit the mic.
It's great. I've been through the Jamie Pankow experience with some puppies a long time ago, and it was amazing. You're very, very good at what you do.
That was a hot session. It was so warm.
It was.
And the puppies were not having it.
They were not cooperating. Oh my God.
I still adore it. I do. Like, one of the biggest questions I've heard over the years were like, do you have certain sessions that you don't like? Like, are there certain dogs or horses you don't like? And I wholeheartedly 100% stand true to the statement is like, whether I have a horse or a dog that's going to sit and pose exactly how I want them to, or they're crazy and I have a horse that tries to trample me, or a dog that just doesn't want to sit still, I still will get into my car at the end, whether it took me an hour or 3 hours, and I have a huge smile on my face. Like, I love all of them. I think they all deserve to be captured and turned into artwork. I think that each creature on this planet has a purpose and it has a unique personality, and I love that part. So, you know, while the puppies did not want to stay on the same area together, it was so much fun, like, snuggling with them. You know, you can't be upset when one of the puppies comes and like tries to like give you kisses and curl up under you. You have to love them. That was fun though.
That was, oh my gosh, that was.
Oh yeah.
They were so cute, and the pictures turned out amazing too. So it was all in all, and it is such a testament to the dogs, especially dogs here at the animal shelter, getting the right picture to help use that for promotion, to sponsor them for the adoption, things like that. A picture does speak 1,000 words. It tells like the whole story of that dog right in a photograph, even if you don't know what the dog is or where it came from, its background, because most of these dogs are strays that come in. We don't know what life has had before, but in just one photograph, you can kind of paint your own story of what it was, you know, tell the story.
Wholeheartedly, you know. And I think that the correct type of portrait is really what finds that dog a home. Because there's certain styles or certain poses or certain, just a look in their eye or something that is going to speak to that perfect person. You know, somebody, it might be as little of, wow, that photograph really shows off this dog's eyes. And that reminds me of my childhood dog who passed away or whatever it is, or, you know, the details of their ears, or, you know, maybe the action shots where we just did a dog a few weeks ago where I was throwing fake balls to get him because he could jump over the play set. Like, that's really unique. And I think that's what finds these dogs such wonderful homes, is the photographs too, you know?
Yeah, it's a big deal. And Animal Friends, we use those photos for their sponsorships. We use it on promotional material and things like that. And it's just like, it's a good visual aid to show what Animal Friends does and all the dogs that Animal Friends affects with our sponsorship. And those photos professionally done, it's amazing. And it's great to see, even like, the dogs could look amazing in the photo, even if they're like super skinny, they're emaciated, they have fleas, they have a whole bunch of medical issues, and then you see what the dog looks like months later, and in a new home, in a loving environment where they're thriving, they're doing well, and you can still compare the photos and the amount of details in the photos that you did initially. It's really it's a story on its own to see the progression.
Oh yeah,
The dog's life.
even B, I think is her name, B, the pit bull.
Yes. Oh, I love beef.
That blew my mind. And we had less than ideal weather. I know that she couldn't go outside, so we had taken photos in here. And it was one of those situations. It was cold outside. We came in, my camera fogged up. It was this whole thing, and this dog had been through so much tragedy, and all she wanted was human contact. This adorable, teeny tiny creature that unfortunately, she depended on somebody and they failed her. She still loved you.
Yes.
By the time when we were done taking photos, and she just curled up, I didn't care. I did not want gloves. I was I don't care if she doesn't have hair right now. This dog just needs to be loved. To go from those photos to, I don't even know how long of a time frame it was, but when I had hosted our white background fundraiser photos, when that woman
It was just months later, really.
Yeah. When she brought her and she had said that I photographed her at the shelter, I was really upset because I never forget a dog. Never. If I have photographed, I don't care if it was 10 years ago, I will always remember the dog. I will remember the horse. And I didn't know who she was. And she tells me the story, and just looking at her, it was insanity. And that is, I think, why photography is so valuable for the shelter and for what your organization stands for, is to show this is where she was. This is what we did to get her here. And this is what her life is like now. And I think in a dark world, it's nice to have some light at the end of the tunnel sometimes. And that was cool. I like seeing those before and afters.
Oh, she was this cute. How old was she when she came to the shelter?
She was less than a year, right?
Oh, yes, she was a puppy. She was 8 weeks? 12 weeks? Something. She was small. She was covered in mange. It took months to clear her skin up. No fur at all. We had to use gloves to handle her because of how severe the mange was, and change our clothes when we got home so it didn't spread it to our dogs. And it was a whole 9 yards. Very much an abused, mistreated puppy, and did not deserve that life. And now she is thriving, and
she's living her best life.
Oh my gosh, she looks
I was trying to show you the photo if I could find my my album where she's in, because I stay in touch with her new owner in Rochelle, and she sends me pictures of B.
I love seeing her.
Look at this one.
See, she's
She is in a tutu, pink tutu, and she is gorgeous.
She looks, oh my gosh, she's having fun.
Yep.
That's so good for her. And it's funny, it was just 1 month prior to that, because I think that was in March of this year, right? March of this year, in 2022. 1 month prior to that was another dog, similar sad backstory, Lady Jane, a golden retriever. Oh my gosh, and sometime we are going to have Lady Jane's owner on for a podcast, because she wants to do it, and Lady Jane is an amazing success story, and just a testament of another thing that Animal Friends does. It's not just spays and neuters.
Right.
This dog was super thin, starving for months on end until animal control was able to find them, and it was such a sad situation. I won't get into too many of the sad details until we talk about her story officially, but when Jamie was here, same situation, couldn't go outside, and Lady Jane, spent a couple days at the vet clinic because of how bad she was, didn't even know she was going to make it, with IV fluid therapy, amazing veterinarians and vet technicians, and the whole staff basically just supported her for 3 days at least. I'm not sure the exact time period, but a while. And then she got back to the animal shelter here, and she was perking up. She loved people. She just wanted some love and attention. And those photos, they break my heart all the time.
Yeah, Justa was just showing me the Christmas card from her owner that sent Lady Jane's Christmas card before and after photos of what she looked like when she arrived, emaciated and starving to death, and what she looks like now, healthy. Yep, she's beautiful. Just a beautiful golden retriever, what she's supposed to look
Just
like.
taking a look at one of her photos of what she looks like now, and
In a happy home.
yeah.
Not saying her home wasn't happy. We won't go into all that. It wasn't an owner's fault what happened to Lady Jane.
Well, we'll touch upon that later because I think there's mixed emotions all over the place about that. But it was tragic what happened to Lady Jane, despite the circumstances. Oh yes, we have a card right here that the owner sent in that shows the before and after pictures, and I can't. Every time I see her come into the vet clinic, because as everyone knows from the last podcast episode, I work at a vet clinic. I'm a receptionist.
The best vet clinic.
Thank you. Yes, I tend to think so too. Perry Vet is amazing. And they're just, it was on Valentine's Day this year when she was found. That is such a sad story. But anyways, I see Lady Jane come in. She comes in for recheck appointments and things like that. And as soon as she comes in, the owner says, "Sam, guess who's here?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's Lady Jane." I go over and give her a big hug, and she looks so happy. And she's putting so much weight and muscle, and she just looks so good. It's hard to imagine. I look at the pictures that Jamie took, and I'm like, wow, the skin and the bones, all you saw were bones. And then what she looks like now, and it's something. It is.
And I think it needs to be documented.
Yes.
Because we have had some pretty sad stories, and that's another thing. I pretty much will grieve about any animal whatsoever. And there was that, I believe he might have been a Mastiff a few months ago. Do you remember when I had photographed him and he was emaciated, and you had sent me a message a few days later saying he didn't make it?
Yes. That was September of last year. I nicknamed
last year.
I think so.
I say it has to be before my time because
my mom had just got COVID at the time.
Oh my gosh, time flies.
I remember everything. I don't remember that at all. So.
Very, very skinny.
Yeah.
Lamont was his name.
Yep. But I think it's important that we documented it.
Yeah.
And it is hard. It was hard for me to look at him because you see them and they look at you and it's almost like they realize they're in a safe spot and it's okay.
Yep. Yeah, it was okay for them to let themselves go.
Yeah.
Calm down, be like, I don't have to be so strong.
Exactly.
I'm not survival mode right now.
Yeah. But I think
because he was running around Lamont, not Lamont Road. What's that? Close to New Start Kitty Shelter.
Denton Corners.
Denton is his name. I'm sorry, not Lamont.
There we go.
My apologies, everyone.
Denton.
His name was Denton because he was found running in and out of traffic on Denton Corners Road. It took a week to get him, and finally he settled down on this amazing lady that I walked up to her house and I'm like, "Have you seen this dog?" She's like, "Oh yeah, it runs around here all the time." I'm like, "Can the animal shelter bring the live trap over? See if we could try to coax him in and things like that." She was very accommodating, understood the situation, wanted to help out any way she could. So I love Good Samaritans like that who understand the work that we have to go through and the patience we have to have for these dogs because we can't chase them. Especially on a road like that, the semis coming down, that dog could have gotten hit at any moment.
Yep.
Oh, it was so heartbreaking. Yep. I remember walking up to that dog and it was in the early morning. We got the phone call. My mom had COVID. Officer Daryl was, I believe, out on a call. And I was like, "Look, let me see if I can help in any way." So I went over to her place. I got one of the red leashes. I crept up on the dog as it was sleeping in her front lawn in between some pine trees. And I thought as soon as it sees me, it's going to start running and be like, "Oh no." But it just lifted its head up, looked at me, and I thought, "I'm just done. I'm tired." You could just see it in its eyes. I put the leash on it, took it back to the shelter here, and it never got better. it was like you said, it was like this piece that went over him. Like,
At least he didn't die alone, you know?
No. Yeah, I think he had severe renal failure.
There was a lot happening.
Yeah, could not come back from it, the veterinarian said, and it was just...
But I think it's important to share those photos. You know, like, the world is not this perfect fairy tale as much as we want it to be, and as nice as our, you know, your awesome success stories are, it is important to show stuff that is a little more difficult to take in, because it happens. It happens every day, whether it's, you know, a senior dog that somebody just doesn't want to care for, or something becomes too much, or, you know, worse situations. I think it's important that you document what's going on. That is what photography is all about. You're documenting events, and I will do it until I can't breathe anymore, honestly, whether it's dogs, horses, cats, gerbils, I don't care. It's important.
Yeah.
So there's not everybody in this world can go through their whole life doing something that they have a passion for and absolutely love, and you are living your dream. So that's absolutely wonderful.
Yes, that's so true. I mean, a lot of us get stuck in a certain type of job that we're not happy with anymore.
You got to pay bills.
You got to pay the bills, but at the same time, it's like, if you don't have a passion for it, what's the work ethic you can put into it? And you are very blessed to have this talent and this passion of yours, and it shows in every photo you take that this is something you really want to do.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Speaking of journeys, didn't you just go out to Montana?
Oh, yes, we had to touch upon that. So tell us how this all came about. When did it happen? What was your experience? We want to know every detail.
So I found out there is a there's a herd of wild horses in Montana. They're in the Pryor Mountains. I probably found out about these horses when I was still like middle of high school. What's really unique about them is obviously they're wild Mustangs, but I think they're the last wild horses in North America with bloodlines that tie to the Spanish conquistadors. And
Dutton Ranch.
Not to
Sorry.
not to get like too political or anything, but you know, our government is removing wild horses, and you know, there's a lot of roundups happening, and they're getting shipped off for slaughter, and it's hard. It's so hard to watch, and it was my biggest fear that I wasn't going to be able to see them. And I've put this trip off year after year after year. The closest I got was right before COVID started, and I had to cancel it. But yeah, this has been a transitional year for me. There's been a lot of big changes, and I am not good with change. I went full time this year, and just a lot of personal stuff. And out of the blue, this guide who's out in Montana had texted me and asked if I was still interested in going. And I was like, yep, I'm doing it. I need to do it. And this is how I'm just going. I was just going to figure it out. And it was probably one of the most humbling and gratifying trips that I've been on so far, and experiences in general. I made a point of it. I really didn't use my phone at all. I think I maybe used it one day, like for the morning. That was it. It was kind of, I called it my eat, pray, love trip. But I went with the full intention. I wanted to document the wild horses up there. I wanted to photograph, you know, what they do every day and their dynamics, because it's interesting. It's so cool. So I went with a few friends and we camped in the Pryor Mountains. It hailed at night and it was 90s during the day. I blamed the elevation for my lack of being able to breathe, but let's be honest, I was not in the best shape then. But it was crazy. Like, I just remember walking over this hill and then looking down into this valley, and there was easily 70 horses, if not 90. And it was like that scene at the end of Hidalgo when all the horses are running. And I just like teared up, and I sat there and I'm like, I'm here. It was so cool. I knew I wanted to take pictures. So I took pictures. There was a 2-day-old baby up there.
Oh.
She was a troublemaker though. So wild horses. So all of the horses on the Pryor Mountains, they are referred to as a herd. And then you have bands of horses. So stallions are going to run a band of horses. Typically you're going to see one stallion with a majority of mares, which are female horses. But this specific band with the little 2-day-old baby had 2 stallions. So you had their stallion, and then they had what they call a satellite stallion. So he's kind of there to help supervise, but he can't really step on any toes. Well, this little baby, she woke up and she just chose violence one day. And she would continuously like wander towards the satellite stallion. And there was so many fights that broke out because of this. Because like, while there were 2 males, you knew who was in charge, and you knew who was just kind of like, there to watch. But it was memorable. It really was. It was a challenge for me to push myself, take myself out of my comfort zone, and just go for it. And I could completely picture myself going like every other year. No problem. It was unlike anything else. I felt like I was in Middle Earth, which is like my life. Orlando Bloom, that's for you. But yeah,
Mr. Bloom, if you're listening.
Mr. Bloom. I don't want to take your last name. But yeah, that was my Montana trip. And I have a lot of amazing photographs from it. I got to witness 2 of my best friends get engaged up there. That was really cool. I met an amazing photographer from Buffalo. She came with me. We'd never met before, and we shared the most teeny tiny tent. And we slept on an air mattress that did not hold air. We screamed out of necessity. And we got along. It was so out of my comfort zone. I went with 0 plans. I always make a plan when I go on trips, and I ruin my trips because I'm so focused on the plan. And I just went with it. It was crazy.
Throw caution to the wind and just
for real. That's what I did.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, it was a big moment for me. I think it was a turning point for sure. So that was fun.
That lasted about a week, or
yeah. I was gone for a little. I think it was like 6 days total. Or, 6. I hate flying, so that was fun. Thankfully, we didn't have much turbulence, so that was nice. But I'm not the best flyer. I wholeheartedly would have drove, but the time just wasn't there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. It'd be a long drive. I'll do it one of these days. I'm just going to cross country, and it's happening. I feel it.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be really. I can imagine doing a cross country thing like that. That would be so cool.
Oh, yeah.
The experiences you could photograph to remember and just be like, wow, this is once in a lifetime.
Well, if you buy an RV and you need a driver, I am retired, so I would not mind doing it.
I do have quite a few equine and pet photography friends who that's what they do. Their business is travel. They have an RV. They travel the country and they photograph portrait clients, and they do very well. So I don't know if I go that far because I love my horse. I could do it maybe for like a month. Just see what's out there. Who knows?
Pencil me in.
I don't know. Well, I have my heart set on Egypt right now. I want to go to Egypt.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
What's in Egypt that excites you?
I've always been fascinated with ancient Egypt. I think that's the coolest thing ever. I mean, I have Ra tattooed on my arm. Obviously the greyhound that I have. There's a bit of a theme. Her full name is actually Renpet, which is the Egyptian goddess of spring and eternity. And then there's Ramses, which obviously Pharaoh. And I love Egypt. I have family. It was my great grandma. I believe my grandmother has gone too, and then great uncles. They had gone quite a bit. My great uncle, I believe, he lived out there for a little bit, and learned how to speak their language and whatnot. I have always been drawn towards Egypt, so I just think it's going to be a weird experience for me. I think they knew what was up. So I want to see the pyramids, and I want to like accidentally find some like tomb. I don't know.
Yeah. Be a little tomb raider right there,
By
like a
the
Laura
Egyptian
Croft.
government. Who knows? Sounds like something I do.
I love that. I love that for you. That is so cool to have like a place you haven't been to before, but you're just intrigued by it in some way, shape, or form. Some time in your life, it's like, yeah.
Well, I was set on South Africa for 2024. I want to go to South Africa. There's a company where you can ride horses through the safari, and I wanted to photograph. You know, the cheetahs and giraffes are kind of like my favorite. And just I thought that'd be cool. But I was just saying, I think last week, I have continuously had these dreams of like me in Egypt. Like just not every single night. It's like the weirdest thing. So I'm like, okay. That's pretty much how easy I am at making decisions is like, okay, like, it's a sign. And I'll just go. I'm impulsive, but that's the plan.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I always had a fascination with Japan for some reason. I don't know why, but anything.
Just in Japan. I think she's still there.
Oh, probably. I have a friend that I went to high school with. I graduated, I think, a year before him. And now he lives in Japan. And I'm like, I'm so jealous. Like, I just want to go and vacation for just a week. I don't want to live there, but I want a vacation there, definitely.
My grandma's husband, he worked a lot in Japan and China, I think. Yeah. And he said Japan's amazing. He said that that's probably one of his favorites that he would have gone back to was Japan. I've never been like super big on it, but now I'm kind of intrigued. I'm like, what's it like?
Yeah.
I think it'd be a whole...
It'd be a culture shock.
It'd be a whole thing.
Like, I'm just this American boy from Western New York in the country and the Japan. I don't know language.
Me personally, I'm back with the RV and just trekking out west. I don't need to go across the pond.
It might be a little safer.
Places out west I haven't been to. And, I'd like to see that, but...
I got really sidetracked from dogs.
Yeah, we all did.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's good. It's okay. It's okay. You talked about your passions, your hobbies, and pet photography. I'm trying to think of where to jump off from there.
I think it's important. I think that in our day and age, every phone has a camera, and to an extent, I feel like the, not quality, but the value of portraits has dwindled a little bit. And that's kind of why I really reworked my business last year. And I just established my brand and I knew what I wanted to do. And it's, your dogs are artwork. So every single dog, like I said earlier, like they have a different personality. They have something that makes them unique. For me, like my horse and my dogs are what got me through some dark times. I would not be here if I did not have my dogs or my horse. Wholeheartedly, I would not be here. And I think that rings true to a lot of people. Our dogs can sometimes be the only thing you come home to at the end of the day. You know, you have a bad day or, you know, you lose somebody or you're just struggling to walk in the door and just have your dog so happy to see you every single time. There's something special about it. And, you know, unfortunately, animals are not with us forever. That's the really crappy part that comes with bringing an animal into your life, opening your heart up. But they are artwork. And something that I really specialize in with my clients is I'm not just showing up and taking pictures. I'm getting to know who you are. I want to know what your bond is with your pets. I want to know the stories, the little things, even if it's like a little high five or if it's your dog likes to give you a hug. I want to know those things because I want to build this beautiful custom experience for my clients to where we're not just taking pictures, we're preserving a memory and we're turning that memory into artwork. And we design that artwork and we put it on their walls so that while our animals are here and well after they're gone, you can look up on your wall and you're like, that's my baby. You know, like it's a detail shot of their ears or it's a photo of you walking your dog to the pond or, you know, going out to the barn and you're taking a beautiful high-end portrait with your dogs and your horse, or your family with your dogs or your son, whatever it is, to be able to look at your wall and be happy. Because honestly, thankfully, I've not lost either of my babies yet, but I did lose my horse. I had my horse for 15 years. That was my base, you know, like I lost a whole chunk of myself when he left. And one of the most valuable pieces of artwork I own is the photograph that I purchased from the photographer I hired before he passed. I had portraits created with him. I knew things weren't looking good, and I saved and I saved. And when I walk out of my bedroom every morning and I see that photo of us, I'm so happy. Like if there was a fire, yes, I will get the dogs, but that's what I'm going for, you know? And I think that's invaluable. I think that we've lost sight of that a little bit by having phones. And with what I do too, I'm not necessarily the photographer you're going to go to every year. And that's fine. That's totally fine, because you still want to have your nice photos, mini sessions, things like that. But for the moments that count, you know, for the beautiful artwork that's going to last, like that's why I'm here. And I take pride in being able to offer this experience, especially to the unique people that feel most comfortable with their pets. I can't even tell you, and I think maybe everybody in this room right now can probably relate to this at some point in their life. I have sat on my kitchen floor broken. And my dogs, like especially Ramsey's, like crawls right up in and he'll just sit there. And sometimes that's the difference between everything.
Yeah.
I think that that's really important. And that's what drives me every day to do what I do. I love the stories. And I think that's why I've loved doing this for the shelter as much, is because like every single dog that's come through here, like they deserve to be able to comfort someone, because there could be a dog sitting out there right now that's going to be the difference between this being someone's like last Christmas and somebody staying here. That's how special animals are. That is why I don't just take pictures. I'm creating an experience. I love it. I adore it. I got really deep in there for a second.
That's all right. That's awesome.
No, it's so true, because you look at those pictures on your wall, the canvas, however you've gotten it done, and it's a snapshot of a memory that was a happy time for you, no matter what the circumstances were in your life or even in that dog's life. It was a moment of you and your pet that the pet loves you unconditionally, no matter what, even if the pet's not here anymore. And it's like a living memory on your wall right there. Like, it's a way to always remember that pet.
What's the saying? I never say it right. It's, they might be in our lives for like a short period of time, but like for them, we are their whole life.
Exactly.
You know, and I like that saying.
And back to like the cell phones and stuff, which we all have and love, and they're very convenient, but I can go back and I have some black and white photos from back in the 30s or so, when my grandfather and my father was a little boy, and they had horses on the dairy farm. We didn't have tractors back in there at that time. They had big horses, and I have these black and whites are beautiful photos, and all the photos from all the way up through with my parents and my son and stuff. Then we hit a certain point when the cell phone came in, and we don't really have that trail anymore. We don't have these photos. We have them on our phones, but we don't always keep them all. And if you're really smart, you put them on a drive or something so you have it on the computer, but you don't have them. So you know, when I pass on, you know, I want my son to take all those photos and continue passing them on down through history. But there may be a break there where we just don't have anything tangible that we hold in our hands and look at, you know, like that we used to have back in the day.
No,
so
there's a difference. There is. There's just something about like a physical print. And I think there's been such a movement in the photography world to get back to that base. Just a little bit, even to just provide that extra bit of service, because, you know, I used to be the type of photographer. I gave I'm going to date myself. I gave a CD, and then a USB drive, and then an online gallery. And when
I'm an 8-track girl, so you're not telling me nothing. CD, what? I thought you were going to go way back. Listen, I can go way back.
But when I reached out to them, I said, "What'd you do with your photos?" It's still in their drawer, you know? And I mean, I'm guilty. I mean, you look at my phone right now. Yeah, it's me and my horse. You go to the home screen, me and my dogs. I love cell phone photos. It's nice. It's cool to have something here and there. But
convenient on the spare of the moment.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, but it's important, I think, for like the things that matter to have something physical in your hands. It's just, I don't know what it is. I guess I can't really place it.
It's recording history.
It is.
What
you know?
it is beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
And every new iPhone, every new smartphone that comes out is always trying to improve their camera features, camera functions, and all that stuff. And they do look good for that time, but there is just something about.
Well, we don't print them out. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So we don't have them.
Yeah.
And there are times where even they make them look a little fake looking too, with how they do the special zooming and all that stuff. It's like,
the filters.
because they're trying to do something automatic where photographers just have this natural way of doing it. That it's just, they look so much better. They just do.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my iPhone, but at the same time, if I have like a family get together or like friends or anything, I want someone with an actual Canon camera or something to come over and take a photo because it's
Set a plug for Canon.
no, they do not.
Team Cash.
They do not sponsor this podcast, but we will not say no if they want. Just saying.
You will see that hashtag on all my posts.
So it was. Yeah, it's it is. I completely agree with you on that. Having that photo in your hand and the experience of having the photos done too.
It is. It's a whole experience. It should be a whole experience, I should say. I like what I do now. I get to know my clients a lot more. And I like getting to know people. I joke around with a lot of new clients that once you hire me, like I don't go away. Like even if you...
There's laws against that, Jamie. It's called stalking.
You can get caught. No. You can get caught. But... even if you go work with a different photographer down the road, like I'm rooting for you. We were talking about breeders earlier. I love my breeder clients because, like I said, I'm like screening them almost. So when I work with you, I am choosing to work with you just as much as you are choosing to work with me. Like we have to be a perfect match. I am here to make this experience as easy and as enjoyable as you possibly can. And in return, like I'm going to clap for you when you succeed. I'm going to cry for you. I had a conversation with a wedding photographer friend of mine. We had coffee a few months ago now. And she was saying that when she works with her clients, they start out as a couple. She does engagement portraits. She does the wedding, family portraits, newborn portraits. And that's kind of their life cycle. For me, I meet my client and I meet their animal, whether it's their dog or horse. I did a cat once. It didn't like me. Not a cat photographer. But, I meet their animals. Sometimes they have a significant other, family, something else. But like my lifespan comes when I get that text of either, hey, can we do a goodbye session? Or so-and-so passed away, that kind of thing. And I'm going to grieve with you. Like I am a very emotional photographer. I put a little piece of me in every single session with every single client. And I think that makes it a little more special. I'm sure it's like not good for my mental health, but yeah, I love it still. So until it starts hurting me, we'll be fine.
But that's why you have your dogs when you come home,
Right.
too.
Even though they eat my Christmas presents.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, my dogs hate everything I love. I still love them very dearly. I always give Ren a pass. Like, oh, she's retired. Like, she deserves this. But Ramses has no excuse.
No.
And he knows as soon as he walks into the house, or I walk into the house and he sees me and he did something, because the big giant beagle ears go back, and he looks at you and he sulks away. I'm like, "What'd you do?" I find it.
I will find out.
There's been many conversations.
You know, they say dogs live in the moment and they don't have memories, but I think they do remember that they've done something wrong.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, you can't really punish them after the fact. However,
You can give them
know,
a stern
but
talking, though.
They kind of do know. So we have another adopter that adopted one of our puppies, our golden doodles, and I saw that she puts out gift wrapped presents, but they're dummy wrapped presents. They're not actually the actual ones. She wants to see what the puppy and her other dog would do first. So she put out the dummy wrapped presents for a couple days to see if they would leave them alone. So they didn't actually destroy the presents she has for her children.
Yeah, test right there.
So she tested them. I'm not really sure if it was a pass or a fail. I'll have to, reach out to her and see. But I was like, oh, that was pretty ingenious, So you're not actually putting the actual presents out there to see what happens first. But
yeah, the dogs I've had growing up and up until now, it's interesting to see because my family's always had Springers. There was a time where we had a Corgi, we had a Shih Tzu that was like oh my gosh, she was a love. She was a love. She was actually adopted here from the shelter. I volunteered here like almost all the time. So of course, anyone who
I think
knows
you
me,
were raised here by.
I was basically raised here, yes, at the animal shelter. And it surprises me the number of dogs we haven't taken home. But that's one, when I think I was in middle school, my mom's like, all right, she's coming home with us. I was like, oh, are our dogs, our Springers going to be okay with it? Oh my gosh, she became the head of the pack.
Oh,
she told them when to eat. She's this little Shih Tzu that's like 9-12 pounds, and our 50-pound Springers are like, oh, I can't eat right now. She said no. Where the heck did that come from? You could just sit on her and that's done.
Exactly.
It's so funny, their personalities. And
They do. They really do. They have big personalities. Because my parents have a Shih Tzu. And, Xena she is brutal.
She's a warrior princess.
She sure is. Fun fact, that was going to be my dog. And when I moved out of the house, my mother was like, I'm going to stand on this side of the living room. You're going to stand here. Whoever she goes to, she even look at me. But yes, Xena thinks that she is the queen. And she actually will try to chase my greyhound, which is hilarious because it's like Ren is obviously quick. And Ren doesn't even notice. But Ramses is terrified of Xena sometimes. But she looks like an Ewok half the time. Like when her hair grows out. Yeah. She's a weird looking dog. But I was gonna go somewhere with that. Forgot. It's gone.
it's okay.
Attention span of a squirrel. That's me.
Yeah, they're just so... I love how each dog, no matter what size they are, they have their own personality. And it's so funny that the bigger the dog, the shyer they are, and the more they just want to please. And then you get to the small little chihuahuas that just bark at everything, and then they want to bite your head off. And you're like, I could hold you in one hand. Like, it's so funny how they're compensating for both sides.
Your mother calls my dog the bacon dog. Like that bacon dog.
Bacon.
No, it's not that one. It's the other one that they're talking is something about bacon and about giving it to the cat.
Yes.
That is
some bacon. You're like, nope.
Yep.
Oh,
that dog that, that one.
That's the videos out there.
Tucker does do a little bit of talking. He he's got a husky in him, and he does a little bit of talk. Which I bring him down to the shelter to interact with our shelter dogs for the behavior stuff. And Justa's always like, "There's the bacon dog." He does talk a little bit.
I forgot about that video.
Oh my God. My son sent it to me the other day too. He goes, "Oh, I found that video."
That's a good one.
It is. We need more videos like that out there.
The internet was cool then.
Yeah.
Like there was a time.
Especially about the political and all that other.
We need to get back to some of those posts.
Yeah, just funny stuff.
Oh, we need those. We need like the spoof movies. Like we're due. It's time. I feel like, the world has put out a lot of good movies that we could make fun of.
Or bad movies that we could just make funnier.
Yeah, those were always good. Like Meet the Spartans. Oh my gosh. I loved that movie. So bad.
I have a hard time watching dog movies because most of the dog movies are always sad, and I don't want to watch a sad dog movie.
Like, what is it, Hachi?
Yeah, Hachi.
Oh my gosh. That one's hard. You know, even
I've never seen it. Or even heard of it.
so hard.
Yeah.
What's his
think
name?
I've
Richard. No, that's not Richard. Oh, what's his name? He was in Chicago too.
I don't know.
He's the one that sings the Razzle Dazzle song.
No
I
idea.
like how that's the description. I like show tunes. So,
So I guess if you need a good cry, this is a movie that you need to
it
watch.
is. It's a hard one.
It is. It's a good one.
Marley and Me.
Marley and Me, Owen Wilson. Yep.
The movie that, and this is so messed up. My favorite movie of all time is Black Beauty,
Oh my
and
God.
it's so sad.
It is.
so sad. I can't handle it. Like,
Yes. Oh, I remember watching it as a kid, and I'm like, oh, well, that horse is dead?
yeah,
What do you mean
I
that
cry
horse is
every
dead?
time. And
Like, what?
yeah, my friends are like, you willingly watch this. Like, you willingly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I just love it. I love the ending. I think that's what it is. There's usually some sort of heartwarming ending. Sometimes.
Oh, there's a movie called Miracle Dogs because it has Spring Spaniels in it, of course. And I love that movie. It had Rue McClanahan in it, and what's that kid? He grew up to be a big action star. He was in Hunger Games.
Bruce Willis. No. I know who you're talking about. He was in Bridge to Terabithia, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know his name.
Oh my God.
PETA.
Yeah, he was PETA. Yeah, basically.
He's PETA.
Yeah, he was a kid. He was a kid.
Really?
In this movie, and it was so good. They find these Springer puppies. I'm like, this is so good. I don't remember it being sad at the end, but watch. I'm gonna go home now and rewatch it, and I'm like, oh no.
Or what is it? White Fang. You
White
ever watch that? That was a good movie. I liked that. Oh my gosh. What was the one? It was like a cartoon movie. And it was, is it All Dogs Go to Heaven? Is that where Charlie's in it? Oh, Instagram got me last night with that one. They showed the clip where like Charlie was like good to like pass on. And the little girl's like, you know, where are you going? Let's goodbye. And he's like, oh, it's not goodbye. See you later. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my dogs who are like snoring and all this. And I was like, I love you so much. Dog movies, they just get me.
They do. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So. I need to compile a list of happy ending dog movies.
For real?
Like it.
Well, and you know, I watched a movie for the first time. I had a friend show it to me, and I don't know how I missed this movie, by the way. It's 2012. It's called Seven Psychopaths. And it has like Woody Harrelson in it, like the guy from Galaxy Quest, the Is There Air? You
Yes.
don't know that guy. Oh my God, love him. Great movie. But they kept preaching throughout the movie that the animals don't die in movies. And I'm like sitting here thinking about it later. I'm like, no, they always do.
Yeah.
Like they always do this to us. Like, you know, I Am Legend. Like, let's talk about that. That was hard. And I'm like, this movie's a lie. It's like they always hurt the animals. Ugh. But yeah, that's a good movie though. If you like funny-ish action movies, I don't even know what to describe that movie as. But it's a gentleman. He's writing a screenplay called Seven Psychopaths about psychopaths. And it's kind of him writing it and experiencing it at the same time. Really, really cool. I don't know how I missed that movie because it's right up like my alley. I'm kind of that person, but Woody Harrelson's my favorite.
We try to write happy endings right here at Wyoming County Animal Shelter by our successful adoption stories and photos.
Yeah.
Give them a
Yes.
second lease on life.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what you should do. You should do like cute little videos, like movies.
We were kind of talking about that for like future videos that we want to do is see there are a couple people who have adopted dogs from us that they heard about this CHOW podcast and the CHOW videos and all that. And they're like, that sounds so cool. Do you want me to bring my dog and I adopt her from the shelter so you guys have like an adoption story? I've had like 2 or 3 people say that. And I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. Like have them come in, do like a little fireside chat or something that just to talk about when the dog came in, show your pictures of when they came in and what they look like now. And like, I think that's a really cool idea.
a successful adoption day when, you know, they come in and
Because
bring the dogs back.
we love to, we make it a priority here at the animal shelter when they leave, they sign this, they sign this waiver that says we could use their adoption story in like our newsletter and our website and stuff like that, because we want to show the public when they donate to us where their money is actually going. It is going to help the dogs here at the shelter. And these are the successful stories, no matter how small it is, like, oh, a basic dog that was surrendered or got spayed and it left and all that, to some of these more tragic, endearing, heart-wrenching stories of like Lady Jane and Bee, and like, yeah, these dogs really do benefit from our sponsorship at Animal Friends, and the money that people put into Spay Our Stray or the Pets for Vets, or even this CHOW podcast is going to help a lot.
Yeah.
That's what the whole point of this CHOW podcast is to promote some education and tools out there for pet owners who are listening right now, and to be like, okay, this is something I could do at home to help improve my dog's life, even if it's just talking about pictures and professional photography for dogs and your equines. And it's like, these animals are amazing creatures that we as humans are given this special privilege to love, to protect, care for, because as Jamie, as you said, the dogs, unfortunately, they don't have the lifespan of humans. They're not going to be here forever. Their lifespan is like 10 to 15 years, depending on the breed and their circumstances, how they're raised. And it's our job. Yes, it's our job as humans to take care of these vulnerable animals. That's why these bills are getting passed that stop puppy mills or stop animal hoarding or things like that. They are a big deal, and there is an issue that shouldn't be taken lightly.
Absolutely. I was really excited. I've been kind of keeping an eye on it. Like, I remember when it was first brought up. So I was excited when you mentioned that it had happened, because too often in my existence have I come across poor breeding situations. And
people that should not be doing it.
Yeah.
They're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
You can tell. It's like, how do you say that?
Right off the bat, I know.
Yeah.
You can be the best liar in the world, but you let me look at a dog, I'll know. So I'm just so optimistic to see kind of what happens in the next year in that part of the industry.
How this gets implemented. What's the ramifications from it? Like, what are the benefits we're going to see from it? What are the disadvantages, if there are any? And I mean, everything's going to sort itself through, but the fact is we're making progress.
Yeah.
Just the big deal.
We need some kind of steps to get us there.
We need to
so we can go from the certain breeders that breed, 2, 3, 4 litters a year. They have a few dogs that they breed. They take care of them. Whether they be in the house, whether they be in a heated barn or whatever. And then you have the breeders that have 100 to 150 dogs, and puppies are outside running around or whatever. Let's cut that back, get something that's controllable. So you're not hoarding out all these dogs and then trying to find the right match. We have dogs that really need homes already. And I'm not saying that everybody has to adopt. I mean, I'd love it if everybody adopted, but people have the right to make their own choices in life, if they want to purchase a purebred dog from a breeder, that's perfectly fine. But just make sure that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Well, maintaining a breed is important. Like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, it is. So it's not bashing breeders at all. It actually are good breeders that want to keep the bloodline or keep the breed going. That's a good thing. It's a good thing, because we get too many designer dogs, too many different kind of what they call mutts out there, and mixed breeds and all that sometimes they have good medical conditions, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're doing it just for the designer look. And it's like, is this what's best for the pet, or is this just the in thing right now to make money?
Exactly.
I've always believed that if you are someone who is going to breed in any way, shape, or form, that if you're doing it for the reasons of getting a quick financial fix or anything mainly involving finances, you're doing it for the wrong reason. And you should not be doing it.
Yep. Well, my most recent client that I've worked with, who was a breeder, I adored every second working with her. Oh my God. She's probably like my dream client. She was amazing. The nice genetic testing, the thorough testing. And you know what? She did. She had a dog that it was not right. Should not breed her. And you know what? That's going to set her breeding program back. But she did the right thing. And all of her dogs, they're always in like a home. They're always handled. We created a beautiful wall piece of artwork of not just like the dogs, but her and her husband. there's puppies there and stuff. People who don't care about the animals are not going to invest in artwork like that. And I love seeing her social media because those puppies are darn tootin' cute. I keep telling her that if she ever has me out again and there's like a puppy looking for a home, I might be in trouble. But she does a great job, great job. And I think we as a society, we focus so much on the negatives. Like we have to applaud the people doing it right. I think that that's really important. Because she's doing a good job. I like the dogs that come out. I've photographed some of her puppies through other clients unknowingly. I found out, and they're all, good health, good hips. They're not having issues with arthritis, stuff like that, behavioral issues. I think that that's what this bill is going to help. And I mean, like, I love the shelter. I adore the shelter and what they do. But, in a perfect world, we wouldn't need a shelter, like to be able to really take care of it. So maybe one day we won't have as many. Sad.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the reasons why I thought that this podcast or this CHOW Project was vital, not just for Wyoming County, because I'm trying to gear it towards Wyoming County. We are Animal Friends of Wyoming County, of course, but just in general, some basic things, basic tools that you can learn at home. That why is spaying and neutering your dog important, not just for their health, but for the population at large and for your neighborhood. There's all these different things. It's not just that, we want to, pardon my words, just chop his balls off or something like that. No, there's a reason. There's a reason why they're supposed to not be there if they're not breeding.
I just spoke to a guy, it was a couple weeks ago. His dog took off on him and somebody else caught it and held it for a little while. Your mom and I went down just to see if she was going to bring the dog back if they didn't find the owner. I had to go to that place anyway, so I was on my way home. So I went down and the owner showed up just as we got there, which was great, so the dog went with his owner. But I noticed the dog was intact, and so I talked to him briefly, about it. And I said, the reason he's probably he's like, he never usually runs. And he's like, just a little over a year. And I said, well, he's intact. And I go, so unless you're going to breed that dog, I'm like, he's going to run because he's going to look for that mate, that's out there in heat.
He's going to smell it, and they smell it from miles away.
He's just going to continue running because there's probably something in heat out there. And he goes, oh, yeah, I never even thought about that. And then I said, plus, if you're not going to breed the dog, testicular cancers in male dogs is 50 to 70% higher if they're intact. So he didn't know any of this stuff. So he was like, well, thank you. And so hopefully he's going to get his dog neutered. That would be the end goal. That would be great. So, but just the education of,
it helps the community, it helps the dog, it helps the owner. That's even dog licensing. That's why they have that incentive. If you have your dog spayed or neutered, it's like $9 as opposed to $18 if it's unspayed or neutered. There's incentives all around to do it. So just get it done. And the younger they are, the healthier they are, the cheaper it is for your wallet to get it done.
Absolutely.
So don't just say, next year when I save up more money, I'm going to do it, because all that money you're saving up, you have to save up even more as the dogs get bigger, as the hormones surge. Yes, it just
the diseases that you may have to treat because of not taking care of the spay or neuter.
Yes, especially in the spays. Oh my gosh, yes, especially in the spays. The mammary tumors, the things that can come up, and it's just not healthy for them.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's sad that that's kind of what biology has done to them. But thankfully, this is 2022. This is the 21st century. And for decades now, we've known what these things can do to dogs. And veterinarians and the animal community at large has taken steps to remedy these situations, and that means spaying and neutering. That is part of being an animal owner. A dog owner is taking on that responsibility of, I'm going to make sure they get their vaccines, because you never know what comes into the house, or you never know what they're going to encounter. And people are like, my dog's always inside. It doesn't need this vaccine, doesn't need that. Well, they don't always remember that things can come into the house too. You could bring something with you didn't even know, like kennel cough or anything like that. You just take them to a daycare for a day and they never got that preventative vaccine or anything that you can do to help that. And all of a sudden you have a sick dog in your hands. To be like, if you're intending to do certain things with these dogs, you need to take proper care of them. And vet bills, they're newsflash, guys. Prices are always going to go up. I wish I could say that prices are going to go down, and I wish to say that other vet clinics are cheaper than other vet clinics. Sometimes some things are, sometimes some things aren't. All in all, at the end of the day, they all are charging basically the same rate.
Oh, yeah. And I think it just also just comes down to like who you connect with. I mean, like I said earlier, I adore Perry Vet for many, many reasons. Like Dr. Ashley is probably like my favorite person that walks this planet. She is just amazing. But like, let's talk about Dr. Wolf. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
this is like, she's amazing.
Yes. What was it? Was it Ren?
It was Ren.
It was Ren and the
my
balloons. Oh my gosh, I remember that. And I'm like, Jamie's here. Why is Jamie here? And then I saw the X-ray. What was it? 100 balloons and there was 99?
Panic. And then you came in and I almost started crying. My Greyhound was at my parents' house while I was at a Halloween party. And I came up to like, I think I was letting her out and the door was open. The sliding door, because our freaking farm dog, Murphy, can open the sliding door. So all of a sudden, my life flashes before my eyes. Because, like, the foundation I, like, adopted Ren through, their number one thing was, like, don't let her off leash. And I was like, I lost the dog. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm going to be that.
And how fast can they run? 75, 85 miles an hour?
45.
Right?
Oh, 40.
Sorry, I was overkilling, but
Yeah.
She's only topped out at 45, I think.
Still.
But I panicked, and she came back with my dog. So I'm assuming it happened somewhere in that span. But as the days went by, I took her out to go to the bathroom, and she had relieved herself, and a balloon came out. Now, I mean, I guess it's not normal, but any normal person would be like, okay, a balloon. Like, that's funny, but like a balloon is reasonable. That's a reasonable amount of balloons. Like, she ate one. That's it. Went about my life. But then she wasn't eating. She wasn't drinking. And I finally was like, okay, something's up. So I took her, I think, the next morning. And that was when we did the ultrasounds and whatnot. And I had I'd been told that when I called, if she needed surgery, I was going to have to take her to Rochester. And I was like, I didn't even know what's going on. Well, when they like came in and they were like, so we're going to do it right now. We're going to do this. And they're like trying to keep me calm. And I'm like, I thought you said you were busy. And they were like, no, we're not busy anymore. I'm like, this is serious stuff. And I appreciated so much, though, how calm everybody was, because like I was about ready to break down because I was like, baby. But 100 balloons. Not even like little balloons. They were like the full size party balloons.
jeez.
I got a Ziploc bag of colorful balloons.
Oh my gosh.
But like they did they took such good care of her. Like she looks normal. I almost forget that she like had it done too.
Yeah.
But she was great. And Sam, you were amazing because you were sending me like updates and pictures and stuff. But
Like, she's doing so good.
you were awesome because I was freaking out all day. But like that, like we said, that also comes with owning a dog. It doesn't matter if it's, a purebred dog, a rescue dog, a mixed dog, whatever it is. Like there's still high costs that come with owning a dog.
Yes, there is.
And
accidents, things like this that happen, like emergencies, be like,
oh yeah,
oh my gosh, and heaven forbid if Perry Vet really couldn't do the surgery that time. You would have had to go to an emergency clinic, and some of those places just walking in $2 or $3 grand just to walk in, let alone the surgery.
Fully prepared.
So
for
it's
like $2 or $3 grand. And I'm still trying to find a way to like get money to her because they won't let me tip. Apparently, where do you get tip? I'm like, really? I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna like donate something because like that was amazing. And then the multiple trips that Ramsey's has taken me to for no reason. I told them that he has maxed out on his vet visits for the year because we keep going for gas.
Punch card has ran
That's
out.
what it is. Yeah, he tries to act like he's dying, and the vet sees him and he's totally fine.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So many dogs that come in here. They're like, when I called and made the appointment, like he really wasn't doing well, and now he's like wagging his tail, looking around, like, hey guys, what's up? You're like, yeah, we're still gonna see you. Don't worry. It's just.
Well, the one time I
put up such a brave
projectile vomit. He had like 9. It looked like the exorcism. I don't even know. And I panicked. And originally, I was gonna take Ren. The only reason that I realized it was Ramsey's was because he puked right in front of me. I would have taken the wrong dog to the vet. But no, we did x-rays. We did the whole 9 yards, and there was nothing wrong with him. He had gas. And I took him home, or I couldn't even take him home because I had a meeting with a portrait client. So I had to get on Zoom, and he's just playing in the back. He is totally fine. So I told him that he reached his quota. That's it. I was like, I better see a bone or something. I now understand my mother's theory on raising us as children. Like, she never took us to the doctors unless we were like actually hurt, because my dogs test me.
But then again, when it's dogs and stuff like that, it's like
They can't tell you what's wrong.
They can't. Do you take that risk of, oh, maybe it is just gas again?
Yeah.
Or did you actually
is it?
do something? And I don't want to wait till it's too late to figure out what's going on.
I always tell my my pet sitter when I leave, because I have portrait clients out of state. She stays with them, and I go, you'll know. I said, Ren will let you know. If something's wrong, I don't want you to question it. You take her. You go. Like, I better safe than sorry. Ramsey's, you need to see it happen because he is so good at faking. It's that Chihuahua in him, I think. He's got a little Chihuahua. He's so good at faking. So, like, if you're gone too long out of the day, in his opinion, or you spent too much time with Ren, he's like dragging his back leg. Like, he's
Pay attention.
oh yeah, like he's like paralyzed. I took him to the vet one time thinking he was paralyzed because he just dragged his back legs. We did everything. He was fine. Totally fine. It's because he gets jealous because he was an only dog his whole life, and now here we are.
Yep.
Whatever.
I'm going to make him pay attention to me.
I do love my dogs, though.
Yeah. Well, it's good.
I make jokes about Ramses all the time, but I do love him. He's my baby. My little bugaboo.
Yeah, well, that's what we do as pet owners. We take him to the vet. Whenever. I mean, I know it sounds.
Unfortunately, sometimes too often.
Yeah.
We can hit the
I would take him to the vet.
You might think, oh, that's very self-explanatory, but it surprises me the number of people just that I see even come in and out of the shelter. They want to adopt a dog, and they have one or two at home. They don't have a primary vet, and I'm like, how do you not have a primary vet? It's like your child not having a primary doctor, like, or you not having a primary doctor. Like, how do you go and do that?
I think some people's hearts are in the right place. They want to rescue and save a million dogs, because they know the dogs need home. And it's like, I'd rather give them a home than have them sitting in the shelter, because at least they'd have a home. But at least at the shelter, they have their food, they get their water, we play with them, we take them out. Yeah, it's not ideal in a kennel all day long, other than the, few breaks and stuff, but we have the dog walkers and everything. But they're, if you can't afford it, it's not the best life for them, as much as you want it to be in your heart. And we understand that you're most likely trying to do you right thing, but you can't afford it, then you just can't. It is how it is.
That's a big misconception when it comes to some shelters. Like, I only speak on Wyoming County Animal Shelter in particular, but some people would think, oh, I don't want to bring the dog in, or as they found the dog or whatever. It's like, I don't want to bring a dog in because it's going to be in the dog pound. It's not going to get anything. Some of these dogs that come through here have had the best life just being here. They get walked by volunteers. Staff is in and out of here. Whenever there's like a dog call out, it's not like, oh, they're here twice in one day and that's it. Like, we're constantly walking in here, volunteers and everybody. They're getting their food, they're getting their water, they're getting medical needs, they're getting
love.
They're getting love. They're getting what they need. Even it's not the ideal situation. We don't want a dog in the pen like all day long or having to be at the shelter, but sometimes compared to the alternative that's out there to someone who can't afford to do the vet bills, can't afford to get the proper food that they need for a healthy, long lifestyle. It's not bad that they're here until they find the right home for them. Yeah. It's not bad.
There's been several people too I would touch on that. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, Jamie, about, like having a bad day and just like melting into the floor, crying, and your dog is right there up on you, hugging you. And I've talked to people in the past who they're like, I absolutely will never get another dog. And it's like, why is that? Well, I'll never get over the loss of my pet that I loved. And I could go on, like there's been so many people. And I had this one dog, Lily, that it broke my heart when she passed away this past February. Absolutely adored her. I had her almost 12 years. But the memories that I had that enriched my life with her, she was my, road dog. She went everywhere with me. And now I have Tucker, who is my road dog. And someday I will lose him as well. It's just a natural thing in life, and something that Steve Stoddard taught me many years ago. The most humane thing we can do for our pets is to humanely euthanize them when they get too old to have quality of life, or if they have a disease or whatever. Unfortunately, our human people, we cannot do that with. They have to suffer. And it is what it is. You suffer until you pass. A lot of people, unfortunately, but you don't have to let your dogs do that. And you can't take back the memories that you had. They're great and they enrich your life. Like you said, Jamie, when you came home from work or you came home having a bad day, your dog is there. So if you have lost a pet in the past, and I know how hard it is when you lose them again, it will happen and you have to know that that's going to happen. But man, the love that you get unconditionally from that dog while you have it is,
You swear it off.
you can't replace that with anything.
You can swear it off all you want, but like we'd said earlier, there's eventually going to be a dog, whether it's here or a different shelter or a breeder or somewhere, but it's going to remind you a little bit. Like when I had to put my horse down, I was just so done. You know, I was done. I didn't want a horse ever again. I could not handle it. And I just went about my life. I did my dogs, everything like that. And I went and I looked at this horse recently. And for me, when I walked into the barn, I knew him already. Like he was just sitting there and he had the same like bone structure that Tucker had on his face. He had such a similar facial marking and his eyes and just little things that I don't think Joe Schmo off the street as they walked into the barn would have noticed. But for me, I was like, oh, okay, it's time. And I think that that's what we as animal lovers in general, we have to accept is like, there's a time for grieving. But like, if you are really an animal lover, you're capable of giving a loving home to an animal. You can't swear them off. Eventually, it's going to happen when the world wants it to happen. And this freight train of an animal, whether it's a small teacup chihuahua or a Great Dane or a horse, whatever it is, they're going to come into your life and it's time. And then you get to do it all over again. But it's exciting. It's fun.
They give you that joy, that spark of joy for the 10 plus years that you have with them. And it's you can't match that. Even if you find the love of your life, an actual spouse and all that stuff, still you have that
What's
dog
that like?
no matter what. right?
Don't ask me. I'm 55. I still don't know.
Oh yeah, it's just dogs. They are yours unconditionally. They'll always love you no matter what, even if you don't love yourself.
Oh, that's
coming home
accurate.
like when I have a bad day at work, or I've gotten into an argument with somebody, or anything, and you just feel real depressed, or just in general, life isn't going the way you thought you want it to be. Like I'm 25 years old, and I wanted to do X amount of things by the time I was there, and now I'm turning 28 in like 11 days from now, and I'm like, I still haven't done the things that I wanted to do at this point. And you come home, you just feel down, no matter any of the good stuff you're doing right now. You're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I don't have this, I don't have that. But then your dogs just come up to you and they can like sense it. They can sense when you're off. They know if you're feeling depressed. You know, they know when you're sad. They just come up and they're like, don't be sad. We don't want you sad. We love you. We're here. And it warms your heart to know that even if humanity lets you down, dogs will not let you down.
No, I agree. And that's what drives me. You know, I want to, my business, I want to offer an experience to my clients who understand where I've been, you know, and I know there's a lot of us, and I know a lot of us don't really talk about it. I am like so open. It's not even funny. I'll talk about anything and everything under the sun. I am an open book. You know, you go through my website and whatnot, it's right there. If you look for it, you know, I struggled with drug addiction. It was a thing. And getting out of that was one of the hardest things I did. Having my dogs, you know, having my horse, having family, whatever it was, like the consistency of it is what got me through.
You're not alone in that. And that's, our world would be a much better place if we were more open about a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
We're human beings, and we've all experienced. I had a close family member with an addiction as well. And I've never been shy about talking about it. And you know, if other mothers had asked me or anybody else, it happens in life. You know, like you get through it, but we'd be a much better place if we all talk to each other about the trials and tribulations that we do go through in life. You're not alone out there.
So, and I tell everybody this. I know it sounds woo-woo. Animals heal. They do. They heal trauma. You know, they heal with your addiction in a way. I mean, it never goes away, but they heal your heartbreak. Whatever it is, they're excited to hear when you fell in love with somebody. They're here for you if it falls apart. They're here for you when you get the job that you wanted, or, you know, they're there when you buy the new couch and they're super excited to puke on it. But they're here.
Exactly.
And I just think that there's no price you can put on that. You can't. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, they look at you for love and guidance, and throughout their lifespan, you're trying to capture all those moments that you can, because that's all they know is you, and you want to remember all those moments. So no matter how you take the picture, especially if you get them professionally done, which is always a great thing to do for those long-lasting memories.
If you haven't done it yet, you should try it. You know, I think everybody should experience it once in their life, even if it's not me. There's so many options, and there's so many different photographers that offer different things that are going to be perfect for you. But I think everyone needs to have that a little bit. It's so cool. Like, I'm a consumer of photography all the time. I just had bougie photos taken with my dogs because that's who I am as a person. And more than likely, I'm going to eventually have photos with my horse, if he lets me. But photography is important. I guess that's what I'm getting at. The presence of an animal in your life is artwork on its own. And you deserve just as much as your pet deserves, you know, a memory. Something you can have forever. And it's not that department store decor. It's something that when somebody walks in your house, you're like, oh, like that's Ramsey's or whatever. Like, oh my God, how cool. I like that. That is what wakes me up every morning.
So we've talked about the reasons why to get your dogs photographed, the reasons why this is such a big thing, a big deal. And maybe to our listeners out there right now, they're like, all right, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to try. I'm going to contact either Jamie, or I'm going to contact someone I know that is a pet photographer. We touched upon it in one of our videos. Walk us through some of your tips for us to have a crazy dog, or any type of dog that's like, all right, I want to get it done, but I don't want it to be such a mess when we get it done. What are your tips? What are your tricks that you've learned?
So I usually go like super in depth about my tips and tricks with each individual client after we've had a conversation about your pets. But I think it rings true to almost every dog, my basic tips and tricks. So when you're getting your dogs ready for portraits, you want to practice those basic manners of sit and stay. Those are the biggest, you know, basic. If you want to just do bare minimum, sit and stay. So you want to practice that, whether it's like around your farm or your home. You want to get your dogs used to almost posing. Because as familiar as they are with your home and whatnot, it's going to be kind of confusing for them to be sitting in the barn alleyway, or to be sitting next to the pond when all they want to do is jump in the pond. So that's kind of my biggest part is practice. Especially if you have multiple animals.
Oh boy.
Keep them on a leash too. Like, there is nothing wrong, at least for me, and most photographers, there's nothing wrong with keeping a leash on. You can Photoshop it out. It'll be fine. But it just removes any confusion the day of. Because a frustrated dog is not going to be the dog for you for that day or for your portraits. Grooming is very important. We always touch base on grooming. So if you have a curly coated dog, you have a long haired dog, hairless dog, or whatever it is, talk to your groomer. If you see a regular groomer, chat with them. These are, you know, my portraits are on next Wednesday. When should we make an appointment? Do not try a new groomer the day before your portraits. Sometimes it doesn't go wrong. But if you have like a short coat dog, like a bath, brush through them, make sure their nails are clipped. it's the little details for me. I like to take photos of paws and ears, like clean their ears out if their ears get gross. Sorry, I get really detailed about this.
Yeah.
But basic grooming, you want them to look nice. The other thing that I always like to mention is a day of bag. That's my favorite part. Day of bags, I add something new to it like every session. Something comes to mind and I'm like, this would be so important. So when you're preparing for the day of your portraits, you want to have, if you're keeping your dog on leash, a simple collar and a simple leash. So black is my preferred because then I can either keep it or edit it out depending on how the portraits look. But having a drool rag for those, Great Danes out there and everything, a drool rag to kind of clean them up a little bit is super, super helpful. Having a brush, even if your dog is short coated, a brush is going to make a huge difference. And like show sheen for my horse people out there, show sheen shows up really, really, really nice in your pictures. And then the last thing that I always like to recommend is having a friend, a trusted friend who your dog knows and trusts, obviously. Because you want to enjoy your portraits. Like you want to be in the moment. The last thing you need to do is like be in your pose on the ground, like with your significant other. And then like Fargo just takes off running. And you're like, Fargo, get over here. Come here. Having a friend there to help, even if they're holding a toy or a treat or something, it makes a big difference. I work with a lot of assistants usually. And while some dogs are trusting, others prefer to have that family friend or whoever it is. That's super helpful. But like I said, if we ended up working together, I like to take time. I want to get to know your dog and you. And I craft together the perfect checklist for your portraits. Because we're breaking down a lot of things. Like, are we shooting for a white backdrop or a black backdrop to do like a high-end art photo? If we're shooting for something that's like more artistic, obviously my prep tips and tricks are going to be a lot more descriptive because I'm taking those detail shots. I need them to look perfect. And as much as I love Photoshop, I'm a lazy editor. And if I don't have to, I won't. And then if you have an active dog, I love active dogs. I do. I have an entire blog that's all about why active dogs deserve to have their portraits taken too. That's probably one of the biggest things I hear is my dog's going to be awful because he doesn't sit still. That's fine. Like, I want a picture of your dog, like all four legs off the ground, bounding through a field of dandelions because I have that. Little teeny tiny dog. And I loved it. Like, oh my gosh, I think active dogs deserve to have photographs. Yeah, it's cool to have the dogs that pose. That's really fun. You can take some super, super unique photos. But like I said before, everything is unique. Every animal has its own personality. You custom cater the experience. So I guess my biggest piece of advice, if you as a listener are looking to work with a professional photographer and have photos with your pets, is make sure that they take time to understand your dog. I think that's really important. You can tell the difference between a photographer who might be a little bit more well-suited for newborn photography versus something that involves pets, because it's a whole other ballgame. I will be the first person to admit I am not the best when it comes to photographing children. I have a lot of people that I will recommend, and I think they do a great job. For some reason, when it comes to animals, I'm more comfortable with it. So just take your time, research your photographers, see what they're like. Every photographer's editing style is different, their shooting style, but it's fun. So just give it a shot. I know the husbands always need a little bit more convincing, but it'll be fun, and you're going to be really, really happy that you did it.
Yeah, especially if you have those high active, hyper dogs when you get ready to do a photo shoot. Give yourself a couple of minutes when you go to the location, whatever, because they're going to be so hyped up and excited, be like, oh my gosh, you're going outside. What are we doing today? What are we doing today? All this stuff, and be like, well, he or she needs to calm down a little bit. Let them run a little bit. Let them get that energy out in some way, especially if you want to get like a good standing portrait. Be like, you're not going to get it when they're jumping up and down and you're just scolding them because they don't understand.
Yeah.
You want to get them in their element, get them when they're happy, because that's what shines through on those pictures too.
Yeah. And the goal too, probably, I think it's probably one of the hardest things for pet photography specifically. You don't deal with it with horses, but getting the tongue in their mouth. When you have a dog that's active, yeah, you want them to run around, but bringing water is super important because, like I said before, yes, I can Photoshop your dog's mouth shut. Do I want to?
No.
Not really. Not when we're, putting together a 40 image album and I have to do all 40. But yeah, so just keep that in mind too. And leashes will be your best friend.
Yes.
And avoid harnesses, please. Avoid, if you're going to do a harness, please, a basic harness, like a basic black or white harness. We like the neon colors when we're walking them. Photographers do not like the neon colors. You're going to throw some weird color casts on your dog's coat, and it's never fun. So
I don't personally like harnesses even when you're walking your dog.
Yeah.
That's another topic.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that's definitely something. That's definitely something we need to discuss in the future, because they're not all are hyped up to be.
No, I'm a big fan of the martingale colors. That's what my greyhound has, and it's amazing.
I
am too. I did a plug for martingale on our Facebook page one time. Of course, the red leash that we have down here is awesome, but harnesses are basically, if we go back to domestication, that's what they put on our dogs to pull a sled and pull a wagon. So that's why they're pulling you down the sidewalk.
They're pre-programmed to be like, oh, this is what I gotta do.
This is, a harness is for pulling, so.
Agreed.
All right.
We have hit so many topics.
I know, we've kind of been all around the world today, but.
I didn't cry, and I'm really proud of myself.
I know our future on our podcast, once they start rolling out and we get an audience, we want to start opening up questions to our members.
And we actually do have some of them.
Oh, we do?
Right before we get to them, though, I do have 2 quick questions for you. Maybe quick, hopefully quick. We don't know. We'll figure it out. What inspires you when you go in to do photography of any sort, equine, pets, anything? What is your biggest motivation other than the animals themselves? Like, is there anything that inspires you for photography, or just inspires you in general?
I think what drives me and inspires me the most, it's kind of a 2-parter. I like to get to know my clients. So I love that. But having a conversation with a potential client, I ask, tell me about your dog. Tell me about your horse. How'd you get them? What's your favorite thing to do with them? What are you hoping to capture about your dog?
Those relationships.
What is special? What makes you smile about your horse? And then as soon as they open up, because you have to open up about it. I get this full, it's weird. It's like That's So Raven, that show. I visualize exactly what I want. I know exactly at that point, okay, I'm looking at this wall. That wall is going to be perfect for a landscape portrait. The backdrop of that wall is blue. Okay, I'm not going to be dressing my clients in blue. It's not going to look right. I'm going to have them in something a little bit more formal. And boom, here's what it is. And then the second part of that is the delivery. I think what inspires me, weirdly, is the ending. It's never really an ending. But achieving what I told them I would give them and seeing how excited somebody is to see their photos. That is what inspires me.
Yeah, the emotional experiences that they have when they see them to a first time. You're like, oh my gosh, I love those whenever I have any photo session with my dogs or even people or anything, is seeing the final product on a TV screen or on their laptop or whatever, and be like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. How did you capture that? And be like,
it's supposed to be magic. Yeah.
It is, yes. It is to a degree. Yes. So what do you hope for in your future? What do you see Jamie Pankow Photography accomplishing, or you personally wanting to see down the next 5-10 years, anything, or your aspirations?
So the goal is to have a physical studio built at the farm next year. I'm getting close on it. But keep down the down low.
You just put it out there, girl.
It's all out there. But I want to have a pet studio. So I'm planning to build on the farm. I want to do a dog studio where we can really kind of explore the artistic side of dogs and different dog breeds. I went through a lot of work this year to legally be able to have horses come to the farm. So I want to build an experience of bringing your horse to the apple orchards and then having your dog in the studio. That's one of my big, hairy, audacious goals. And then the other one is I want to travel a little more. That's kind of what I've been working towards. I've kind of blown my original goals out of the water this year. So now I'm like, well, now you got to set crazy goals.
Yeah.
So I think within the next 5 years, I would like to have a client out of the country. That's my big.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
goal.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. So
Experience alone, like, wow.
I think that's kind of my big crazy goal. But other than that, I just want to keep meeting people.
Yeah.
You have a website you can plug right now for people who are interested in photography?
Yes.
Let's do that.
So you can find me, first off, you can find me on Facebook under Jamie Pankow Photography. It's JamiePankow. It's not COW. But you can find me on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram. And then my website is jamiepankowphotography.com. There's lots of information there. Hopefully my blog will be nurtured a little more.
So we're going to move on to the questions from our members. So if you are a member of Animal Friends, we will send out an email to you or reach out to you in some way to say, hey, we have a podcast coming up. This is our guest. This is the topic. And it's exclusively to Animal Friends members. So if you're not a member, go to animalfriendsofwyco.com, go under the membership tab. It'll tell you how to do it. It's $15 a year. And it all goes towards helping this program, helping the project and things like that. And, so members are able to write in and ask in some questions for our guests. And so Mark from Castile wants to know, are horses easier to photograph than dogs?
That's a good question. For me personally, I do. I think horses are easier. I think it's just because I'm a little more comfortable. Not that I'm uncomfortable with like dogs, but I know what I'm looking for confirmation wise when it comes to horses. When it comes to dogs, I take a little extra time to research each breed ahead of time to make sure I'm depicting them the correct way. Whereas with horses, it's kind of second nature. So I guess horses. I think horses are pretty too. I love dogs though. Don't take it like I love dogs, but I just think horses are pretty.
There you go. Well, there you go. Morgan from Castile wants to know, where is your favorite place to travel and take photos?
My favorite place. I adore the apple orchards at the farm. I love them in the spring when they're blossoming. It's like a whole other world. But if I were to travel and take photos, I don't know. I went out to Morrisville actually for a client last year, and that was also like Middle Earth. If you ever have seen, I have a panorama landscape photo. It's probably one of the only landscape portraits I've ever taken. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I wish that I could just teleport all of my clients there because it's just wide open valleys and it's just really pretty. But definitely nature, at least. Nature inspired, not the city.
Yes. Cool. Let's see. Sally from Silver Springs wants to know, do you have a favorite photo you've done? Is there anyone that stands out to you or anything that...
Yeah. And it's weird. It's actually a very old photo that I took. There's a horse. Her name is Vanity. So Vanity is, I'm sure she's retired by now, but she was part of the, it's the Wyoming County mounted
Police?
Maybe it's I don't think we have mounted police, but it was like the mounted group of some sort. They always walk events, Pike Fair.
Yeah.
Is it the Mounted Police?
Yeah, I don't know if
I don't think that's their official. It's something like that. But the owner was Jackie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it the police?
Yes.
I think it is.
It is.
Yeah. So, but her Vanity. So, oh my gosh, she was huge. She was just so gentle. And the photo I took of her, there's just all these vines that are growing completely around her. And she had such a thick, muscular neck, and she arched it so perfectly. It's straight out of a fairy tale. And it's one of my absolute favorite photos that I think I will ever take, which is kind of funny.
Cool. Oh my gosh, that sounds pretty.
It's
Just
so
picture
cool.
it.
I'll have to send it to you.
Oh, yes. Oh, we definitely got to see that. Yes. Let's see. Sue from Warsaw wants to know, have you always wanted to be a photographer? Is that... I feel like it's safe to say because you
An
said...
artist of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went back and forth. I either wanted to be a writer or a photographer. So yeah.
You know. Let's see. I think we have this question already answered, but Brian from Pike wants to know, how many horses do you own?
Currently I have one. Future
Future
I hope to have at least 4
Like,
horses
talk about
in the
that.
barn one day. That's the big plan.
Shelly from Silver Springs wants to know, what has been your hardest photography job?
My hardest photography job. I think probably one of the hardest ones that I've done, it'd be like all of the goodbye sessions. I guess I'll have to compile all of those into one. Being like hired to do a celebration of life session. I think that's probably the hardest. It's hardest mentally and emotionally for me because you dance a dance, like you have to make it lighthearted, but not like so positive that it's like uncomfortable. But as I've said before, even the most difficult clients, when it comes to like animals where they just don't want to sit still, I'm still happy. I'm doing what I love. I think I just have a hard time with goodbyes.
Okay, so let's see. Some of these have already been answered, so we actually had a lot of them for you today, which is kind of cool. It's very exciting. Let's see. We had that one. Let's see. Frank from Wyoming wants to know if you had to go to college for photography or did you have to take any special classes to do it?
That is a great question. I'm sure parents are going to get really upset with me for a second. So I went to college for business entrepreneurship. I think it was the biggest waste of my time. I regret going to college every single day. I actually I hired a mentor in the photography industry. I worked with a few for educational classes, but I hired a photographer. Her name is Corinda Kinsler. She's in Texas. I'm going to plug Corinda here. She is phenomenal. She taught me hands-on all of the insides and outs of running a successful portrait business, but how I could take my personal individual story and what we call in the photography world, my why, and provide that experience to my clients and yes, be profitable, but realize that it's not just about money. Like she took it to a whole other level. And that was probably the most invaluable thing I'd ever done education wise. Anything technical or editing was all YouTube. And there was also Brody Wheeler, who's in Attica. He actually photographed my senior portraits and he took me under his wing. Oh my gosh, Brody is amazing. I can't say enough about him. And he would take my website and he would take what I do and he would just take it apart in a nice way and build it back up. And like when he gave me compliments, like it was good. So I don't know. Oh, it meant everything. You know, that picture of Vanity, that was the first time that he said like, this should be in a magazine. And I think that's why it's one of my favorites. But yeah, I think education wise, like hands-on mentorships are just the way to go in the creative industry. I learned nothing in college. And it's not like I had the college experience. Like I did it online. I commuted. Like I didn't party or anything. So yeah, that was my history. I'm not saying don't go to college. Don't quote me here. But for me personally, yeah, that was my educational background.
Because a lot of people nowadays they think you could just use your phone, you could be a photographer on your own. But even though you don't have to go to college to learn photography, you do have to put in some actual work to improve on your talent.
You're doing. Yeah. Like, so if you want to get into like editorial photography, like if you wanted to do my original plan of Rolling Stone magazine, you're going to want a college degree. You're going to want to know somebody who knows somebody. And you're going to work really hard. And they take note of that. For me,
well, you gotta have paper to back you up.
Exactly.
Professional like magazines and stuff.
For me, like I know horses. I know dogs, but I took the time to educate myself. I wanted to know, okay, how do I pose this type of person? How do I pose this person? How do I pose them together? Certain poses look better with certain clients. Certain like fits of clothes look better. I hand design, I pick out every client's wardrobe. I'm going to dress them with intention. And I think that also comes into play. It just depends on how hard you're willing to work and put the research in. So yeah.
All right. And I think some of these have already been asked, but there is one more that stuck out to me. Make sure I get it right. Where are you? Sorry. I think you already did it, actually. How do we reach out to you for services?
Yeah. Usually, just so that everybody knows, once you either message my social platforms or you fill out the contact form, I'm going to want to get on the phone. So spoiler alert. And we're just going to chat. We're friends. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to get an idea of what you're looking for. You're going to hear all about what I'm going to do for you. And hopefully we're going to be a phenomenal match and we're going to become friends.
There you go. This is the one that stuck out to me. I'm sorry that was the last minute. Aaron from Pike wants to know, for those people that are inspiring to be a photographer at all in this area, do you make enough money doing this in Wyoming County?
In Wyoming County, so like I have had 5-digit clients in Wyoming County. However, being full time, I do travel like 2 hours for like what I'm doing. I think that it's 100% possible to be a full-time photographer. Again, a lot of things come into play. What are you specializing in? What are you offering your clients? That kind of stuff, which comes with age and time and all that. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing this full time. This is just me. I don't have a spouse. I don't have a significant other. My parents aren't paying my bills. I am paying for my dogs to eat balloons. I just bought myself a horse. Like, that's crazy.
They're not just balloons. They were party balloons.
They were party balloons.
Time balloon.
I bought myself a fancy horse and, this is all I do. That's it. So it is 100% possible. I think that you can achieve absolutely anything if you don't give up on it. Maybe we have to work a little harder in Wyoming County, but it's possible. I'm doing it and I can't believe I'm doing it. I'm living my dream. So yes, you can do it. I believe in you doing it. Don't stop.
Awesome. So, yeah. All right. Well, we have had quite the conversations here today. Yeah. I have loved every moment of this. So in conclusion, do you have a message to our audience yourself that you want to give out there to someone? Anything, inspiration or just tips or something that you want them to leave this podcast knowing in particular?
Orlando Bloom. I am
my
single,
goodness.
just so you know, or if you have any friends. No, I just had to put that out there though, just in case weird things happen.
You never know. Like I'm sending this to Katy Perry, so
Don't send it to Katy Perry. I'm scared of Katy Perry.
She's probably real sweet.
I know she's very sweet, but like, you know what? Like that's her man.
Well, yeah,
And like
that is her
rightfully
man.
so. She better hit me, honestly.
yeah, well, that's her baby.
It'd be
That's-
my honor to be hit by Katy Perry. Honestly. But no. So I guess my message is just book the portraits. Whether you are ready to invest in high-end artwork or you just want to wait, I think that it is very valuable to have at least taken your portraits, have them, because far too often do I come across clients where they say, I wish I had pictures with my dog. I wish I had pictures with my horse, and they don't. Don't live a life of regret. So you deserve the artwork.
That's good. That is very inspiring. And yes, I think that we all should take that to heart and try it out at least. See if it's something that we want to do. I don't think you're going to regret it.
I don't think so. If you find the right photographer, because I mean, I'll say, I'm not going to match everybody. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'm a little over the top. I'm crazy. I have crazy hair and tattoos. I have to put that out there. I have tattoos. I had somebody who came and worked with me one time and they didn't know I had tattoos and they were really upset and they did not want to work with me. So I do have tattoos and I have crazy colored hair. That's it.
But it's you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's a photographer match for everybody.
Yes.
I believe that wholeheartedly. So
cool. All right. I don't think we have any special announcements. I believe this episode is going to air in February. So happy Valentine's Day to those coming up.
Happy Valentine's Day was perfect for Lady Jane then.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
yes, mentioned here in the pod. Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening and tuning in. Follow us at Animal Friends of Wyco or on our Facebook page is Animal Friends at Wyoming County Animal Shelter. We have social media accounts all over the place, so wherever you have a social media account, we probably are there. So look us up, Animal Friends of Wyoming County. Go to our website, check out Jamie Pankow. She is amazing, and her photography is just it blows my mind. Unfortunately, I do have to say, even though she's been our in-house photographer since 2017.
Don't do this to me, Sam.
I know you're so happy you didn't leave this episode crying, but starting in 2023, her business has grown so much that she will be leaving Animal Friends to pursue her dreams as she's supposed to, as she's always been doing. So we will greatly miss her here, but she's welcome back anytime for volunteering, for pictures, for anything. She may help us out still when it comes to like the calendar cover and Santa Paws and certain things like that. So you will still see her donate to the shelter in some way, shape, or form. But it is bittersweet, especially for me personally, because I've enjoyed every session that we have had. The quick ones, the ones where we walk in and our hair is like sky high. We're like, it's Sunday morning. It is what it is.
I feel like you've gone through like every breakup of mine. I think every single time you get me at like my worst moments. You're still like so happy to see me, and I'm gonna miss that.
Yeah,
I still plan. Oh, I forgot to mention. I do still plan to do my white background donation for the shelter too next spring. So keep an eye out for that. That's where I'll do white background portraits of dogs. They're little quick mini sessions, and your session fee is donated to the shelter. This year we raised $1,100 for the shelter. I want to double that next year.
Awesome.
You hear that, everybody? So look her up, and we'll share that on our social media pages when the announcements come up and everything. So that is fantastic. That is so exciting. Thank you again for coming here, for doing videos, for doing the podcast, for just doing everything that you do.
Thanks,
So,
Jamie.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we will talk to you next time. Goodbye.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the CHOW Podcast, hosted by Animal Friends of Wyoming County. To learn more about us, visit our website at www.animalfriendsofwyco.com. And if you're interested in adopting a dog, please call the Wyoming County Animal Shelter at 585-786-8938. This has been a production of Knox Luna Films, LLC.